Saucy Sharon. I'm back again after week 25, I think. I've lost count. I'm about to go crazy trying to figure out recipe for every week, but I'm still doing it. I'm still here. You haven't gotten rid of me yet. But to help me out, I've turned to the hard stuff. I'm going with the hard stuff this week to get this recipe out. Now, let's talk about crab cakes. Today I'm going to make for you creamy pumpkin crab cakes. I'm going to use Philadelphia cream cheese, of course, and I'm going to use pumpkin because I learned to love pumpkin when I was living in Australia. I was living with my mother-in-law, and she used pumpkin in everything. It's just a staple to them as potatoes are here. So I thought, let's combine my two favorite things, crab cakes, pumpkin. Now, first things first, we're going to bake these crab cakes to make them more healthy. We're not going to fry them. So you're going to turn on your oven, preheat it to 425, and you want to preheat your pan too. So you're going to want to put this into the oven to preheat. Look at all the beautiful colors and textures we're going to use in our recipe today. It's going to be wonderful. Now let's get started with our base ingredients. You're going to take a bell pepper, a red bell pepper, and a poblano pepper. Look how they jump out. They don't even want to go in my crab cakes. So you put them in there, and then you take some green onions and just cut up the stems and the white part. And you don't have to cut them up real fine because the food processor is going to do that for you. Here's my garlic. Go ahead and put them in whole. Then you're going to mix those ingredients up. Now, you want to not process it or over process it too much because then it'll turn into mush. So you want it kind of just, kind of chunky. If there's a few chunks in there, it's okay too. That makes those crab cakes more crunchy. Now we're going to add our binders. 1 cup of breadcrumbs, 2 eggs. You don't have to mix those up because the food processor is going to do it for you. Always Philadelphia cream cheese. About half of a stick, or half of the package, because you're going to save the other half and we're going to make some yummy cream sauce for these. And then, my secret ingredient, pumpkin. About half a cup. Now, blend up your binders with your veggies. Now, it should be getting a little bit sticky and mushy at this point, but that's okay. Look how good that's looking. Now we're going to put in our seasoning. 2 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning, any kind that you like. A tablespoon of horseradish. That gives it a little kick. A pinch or 2 of salt. 1, 2, and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. We pronounce it Worcestershire. 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 Say that 6 times. Worcestershire, 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 Worcestershire. You put some of that Worcestershire sauce, whatever it is, I don't know. And finally, a half a pound of crab meat. Now, if you had seen my stuffed mushroom recipe, you would know why I am using imitation crab meat, which is really fish. It's not imitation anything, it's real fish, because it's cheaper. Now, you may need to mix this all together to get it to mix better in your food processor because you're getting pretty full here. So I'm just smushing it around in here to make it easier for the food processor to do its job. Now we're looking for the perfect combination of sticky and dry. This looks sticky enough, but not quite dry enough. So go ahead and take this out into a bowl. A couple of tablespoons of the breadcrumbs and mix it all up. Now crab cakes can be really messy to make. Some people put them in the freezer and try to get them to stick together and all that. But I'm going to show you my way to make them, which is top secret. And if you tell anybody, I'll have to kill you. First, make some little piles of breadcrumbs on a cookie sheet. Okay, now you're going to get an ice cream scoop, and then you're going to scoop you up some crab mixture, level it off, and then put it on top of one of the little mounds of the breadcrumbs, like so. And repeat until they're all gone. And once you get the whole tray full of your little crab cakes, you're going to sprinkle some more breadcrumbs on the top, and then just pat them down as to however thick you want them. So just keep adding the breadcrumbs until they're nice and coated, and keep patting them down. Add some more. You can be very generous with your breadcrumbs. Now, I'm done breading, and look how filthy my hands are. They're just terribly filthy, aren't they? And look how filthy my countertop is from all the breadcrumbs that spilled. Ha ha! Now, take your pan out of the oven. Be very careful because it's going to be screaming hot. Then you'll take a couple of tablespoons of canola oil and spread it over your pan like so. And then with a hot pad, because I told you it was screaming hot, you're going to kind of smush it around back and forth until it covers all of the pan, which won't take but a second or two. You just tilt it back and forth. Now, it's done. Now, you're going to want to put your crab cakes on the pan, and they have a lot of breadcrumbs on them. So you take your spatula, put it over into your hand, just flip it back and forth till you get all the little breadcrumbs off, and then slip it onto your pan. And look how they've all fallen apart. And look how messy my hands are. Now, put these in the oven, back into your hot oven for 8 minutes. Okay, now while your crab cakes are cooking, you can make the sauce that you're going to dip them in. Here's my recipe for my sauce. Use the other half of your Philadelphia cream cheese, put it into the food processor, about a half a cup of cilantro, the juice of a lime, a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, and then you're going to put about 3/4 cup of buttermilk, or you can use milk if you don't have buttermilk. Blend that up in the food processor. After 8 minutes, you're going to want to take your pan out and flip them on the other side. Once you flipped them all over, you're going to put them back in the oven for 8 more minutes. Now, after 8 minutes, and they're done, take them out of the oven. Now, don't those look delicious? And they're baked and not fried, so they're better for you. Now, let's taste this little crab cake. Cut me a piece, get a little sauce. You just won't believe all the layers of flavor you have in that. It's crunchy, it's spicy, it's creamy. The Philadelphia cream cheese and the pumpkin together makes it even richer and creamier than it already is. It's just wonderful. I'm gonna have another bite. So there you have it. I've made you some crab cakes. Doesn't take long. Doesn't mess up your kitchen. Doesn't mess up your hands a whole lot. They're easy, fast, and they're good. So here's to the end of entree week. I'm bushed. Paula, you about to wear me out thinking up recipes. So we only have one more week, girls. So let's give it our best shot on the last week. So from Saucy Sharon to all of you, I wish you a lot of luck the last week. Cheers.